Very good afternoon and thank you very much for joining us on Live at 1. I'm Michael Njenga. The directive by President Uhuru Kenyatta asking chief executive officers of all parastatals to take a 20% pay cut has sparked varying reactions from politicians, with some hailing the move as timely, while others have labeled it as inconsequential as the government loses public funds through other channels and not just pays and allowances. Abdi Osman will be giving us that story in just a while. Moving on, Nairobi Women Representative Rachel Shebesh has today withdrawn all complaints she filed against Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero over an alleged assault incident. The move is in line with High Court Judge David Majanja's 7-day notice requiring her and Governor Kidero to retract their complaints against each other at respective police stations before the said charges are formally dropped. Alex Kubasu with the details.
A long-drawn saga that was constantly replayed in the media finally came to an end this morning at the Parliament Police Station in Nairobi. One that had been an issue of great public debate after this incident caught on camera that saw Shebesh complain that Governor Kidero had slapped her. Both parties accused each other of being the aggressor, with Shebesh claiming the governor had hit her in the face and the governor lamenting that he too had been assaulted by Shebesh. Now all that appears to be water under the bridge after today's withdrawal of the original complaint by Shebesh.
I've just formally withdrawn my complaint against the governor of Nairobi. I did it formally because that is the instruction of the court.
Early last week, Governor Kidero withdrew his case against Shebesh, and according to the Nairobi Women Representative, the investigating officers will now forward her application to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Keriako Tobiko, requesting him to bring the case to a close.
Tutafanya kazi kwa watu wa Nairobi tukiwa pamoja na mtaona matokeo yake.
The case, which has drawn on for a period of 7 months now, has seen the intervention of several leaders seeking to resolve it. Among them, the Nairobi Senator Mike Mbuvi Sonko and Bishop Arthur Kitonga of the Redeemed Gospel Churches of Kenya. Alex Kubasu, Citizen Live at 1.
Moving on, a showdown between West Pokot County Senator John Lonyangapuo and Governor Simon Kachapin now looms following unsubstantiated claims by the senator that there was illegal awarding of tenders and misappropriation of funds by the West Pokot County government. Lonyangapuo has condemned the manner in which tenders are being issued in West Pokot County and is now threatening to ask the national government to send auditors to investigate the matter.
An angry Lonyangapuo stormed a construction site in Kapenguria, alleging the said project was one of those that had been awarded on an irregular basis. The senator has accused the county governor and MCAs in the county of being involved in the irregular issuance of contracts.
Nimekuja kundua projects ya county imepeanwa kwa marafiki, na zaidi ya yote wanapeana kwa MCS ndio wanyamase ili wasiulize maswali kwa bunge ya county.
What is not clear, however, is why the senator opted to make the allegations to the press instead of pursuing the complaint with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. He, however, issued a warning to the county's leadership.
Nataka nipeane warning kabisa. Kama governor ya West Pokot Kachapin ameniteleza hivyo, aanze kubadilisha, la sivyo tutatuma audit kutoka Nairobi.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has in the recent past asked any members of the public with information on graft to pass the same to the commission, and it will be interesting to see if Senator Lonyangapuo does so as he has promised. Benjamin Muriuki, Citizen Live at 1.
Well, moving on, a case in which Paralympian and Olympic athlete Oscar Pistorius has been accused of the murder of his girlfriend Riva Steenkamp took an interesting turn after Pistorius admits that he indeed shot his girlfriend, but only after mistaking her for an intruder at his home.
In In a rare display of raw emotion, Pistorius broke down at the High Court in Pretoria yesterday when graphic details of his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp's autopsy were unveiled. Pistorius admits he shot the 29-year-old Steenkamp, but argues this was a tragic case of mistaken identity. However, forensic pathologist Gert Simon confirmed in his testimony to the court that Steenkamp died from multiple gunshot wounds, having been hit in the head, arm and hip by 3 shots fired through a locked door of a toilet cubicle. Simon continues his testimony today. Yvette Mumanyi, live at 1.
Thank you, Yvette. Indeed, this is a story that is of global interest. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. We move back to our story that we made headlines today. The directive by President Uhuru Kenyatta asking chief executive officers of all parastatals to take a 20% pay cut has sparked varying reactions from politicians, with some hailing the move as timely, while others have labeled it as inconsequential, as the government loses public funds through other channels and not just pays and allowances. Abdi Osman has the details.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has warned that there is no turning back in his administration's quest to lower the national wage bill costs that have been rising year after year. The government's salary bill now stands at 543.7 billion shillings, or 54% of all government revenues, a situation the president and his cabinet have warned is untenable. The president asked parastatal heads to take a pay cut, just as he, his deputy and entire cabinet did recently.
And we expect that they will take an equivalent 20% pay cut as we have taken. We expect it, because it is our job to formulate policy.
But the Bondo Member of Parliament Gideon says the President's directive and his earlier decision alongside the Cabinet to take a pay cut will not have the required impact, as the ongoing recruitment by county governments defeats the purpose.
So high because the government is failing in like 3 things. One, it has been procrastinating in terms of implementing and supporting devolution to work. So there are like 3 different parallel civil service. There is the national government civil service, there is the old central government civil service, and then there's the county civil service.
The Bondo MP wants the government to approach the wage bill debate more comprehensively.
What's going to help is a commitment to have devolution work. The Constitution requires the national government to support the counties to come up. But the counties are busy recruiting personnel that the national government ought to have moved to the county government.
Kiambu Governor William Kabogo welcomed the president's move, but wants the cost of living also lowered through interventionist measures.
Nashukuru Mheshimiwa Rais na Deputy kwa kuchukua nafasi hii kuweza kupunguza gharama ama wage bill ya serikali. Pia ni muhimu tukifanya hivyo tujaribu kupunguza hali ya maisha. Unga uje chini, nauli ya kwenda kazini ije chini.
He said that like other leaders, he will not be taking a pay cut as he does not take a cent from his salary.
Sitasema nitakatwa nini, hakuna kitu mimi hupokea. Yote mimi hupeleka kusomesha watoto.
The wage bill debate has picked up after it emerged that the country's wage bill stands at 13% of the nation's GDP, whereas the global average stands at 7% of GDP. Experts have warned that unless the wage bill, which grew by 34% in the last financial year, is slashed soon, it will threaten to roll back the economic gains made in recent years. Abdi Osman, live at 1.
Well, thank you, Abdi. Well, lecturers have warned that they will go on strike unless something is done on their salaries. I'll be giving you that story in just a few, but for now, we take a short break. We'll be right back.